of people overcomplicate this business, but there's only 4 ways to make money in this business, right? So you got the cold over here, right? Cold business, and you got the warm over here. So you got one-to-one, hold on, and then you got one-to-many. You got cold one-to-one, cold one-to-many, warm one-to-one, warm one-to-many. That's like, there is not infinite ways of making a ton of money in this business. Every type of lead generation strategy that you follow, okay, or that you hear about is through these different categories, okay? This is it, okay? I'm gonna try to make myself a little bit bigger. Hold on. Is there a way to do that? How do I pin myself? I wanna pin myself to the screen. Aha! Okay, there we go. So my point is, there's only so many ways to make money in this business. You either do cold, like for lead generation, you can only follow one of these 4 things. Okay, there's not infinite ways of generating leads. There's these 4 ways. You can cold one-to-one, which means cold call, cold door knock, cold email people one-to-one. You have warm one-to-one, which is reaching out to your sphere of influence, your contact book. You just choose your letter of an alphabet on your phone, and you call your A's, and then your B's, and then your C's, and then your D's, and you keep on going, so on and so forth. You keep asking for referrals. You call the people who know you, like, you, trust you. Call your past clients, current clients. Cold one-to-many is any type of paid advertisements. You're doing Google pay-per-click, you're doing Facebook ads, you're doing mailers, any, mass marketing where you pay money through text campaigns or emails campaigns or whatever you're going to do. Mass amounts of marketing that you spend some money, and you spend money to generate leads, okay? That's called one-to-many. And then you got warm one-to-many, which is anything on social media. Okay, you post on social media, you post your content, right? And then people are going to reach out to you over again because you build a brand online. By the way, there is not another thing here. There's not another option. The only other option is that you hire agents to then do one of these things for you, or many of these things for you. It's one of these 4. Number 5 is that you teach people to go do it for you. If you want to generate more leads, it's in these buckets, right? So these are the buckets that you got to work with. So if this is the confined space in the business of commercial real estate for us to make more money, right? I'm actually going to do this a little bit. Aha, there we go. Amazing. If this is the confined space that we have to generate more leads, how do we generate more leads? Well, let me ask you, for all of you guys here today, which one of these buckets do you feel like you're in? Like, how are you generating your leads today? Let's drop it in the chat below. I want to hear, like, how are you currently generating your leads? Who's doing cold calling, door knocking, cold one-to-one, right? Then you got, again, who's doing warm one-to-one? Who's doing the sphere of influence, your past clients, current clients? Right? Drop it in the chat box down below. I want to be able to see all this, right? And then you got the people who here is doing paid advertisements. You're doing mailers, maybe, paid text blasts, paid email blasts. You're doing Google pay-per-click. You're doing Facebook, whatever you're doing, right? You're doing some type of paid advertisement. There's going to be people over here. And then who are the people who are doing warm one-to-many? People who are doing social media content. People who are doing, any type of free stuff across all social media platforms, right? Drop it in the chat box. How are you generating your leads? Put it in the chat. Let me see. Okay, cool. We got warm leads over here. What else? Paid leads in Facebook. Awesome.
Warm leads, one-to-one.
Warm one-to-one. Okay, cool. Awesome. Like past clients, current clients, sphere of influence. Okay, cool. And also
like content also,
and social media content. Okay, awesome. Cool. And I'll keep in mind that, like, look, warm one-to-one, you can also say this is going to events. Right? You could say, like, I'm meeting somebody face to face, I'm shaking a hand, I'm kissing babies, I'm doing the whole thing. Like, you could say that is part of it as well. You're going to meet people face to face, okay? Warm one-to-many, I still would not count that as going to an event, unless you're hosting the event. If you're hosting the event, you could say maybe warm one-to-many. But let's dive into this, right? What I have found to be true to me and all the hundreds of agents that I coach is the following. Cold one-to-one is where most people start, okay? Cold one-to-one and warm one-to-one. The top half here is typically where people start. And there's a lot more limited options for how many leads you can generate on any given month. However, every one of my agents, we start them here. We start them on the top part. And by the way, if you're not generating, right in the chat box down below, how many leads are you generating on any given month? On average, how many leads a month are you generating? Okay, put them in the chat down below. Just give me a number. That's all I need to know. Because what I've found is that the lowest tier, okay, for cold one-to-one, people are generating between 0 and 5-ish leads a month. Bottom portion of people. The mid portion of people are generating between 5 and 20 leads a month. And the top portion are generating between 20 and 40 leads a month per person, individual. It's not leads, it's not like teams and stuff like that, okay? Like individual. Jamie, thank you for giving me an honest answer. I appreciate that. If you're in the bottom half here, okay, bottom portion, lowest portion, you're generating between 0 and 5 leads a month. You have the middle portion, 5 to 20, and then 20 to 40 for top portion. Here's the thing. The way you do enhance this box right here, okay, is one, you spend more time in that box, okay? Because it's like basically you got to treat it like a 40-hour-a-week job, where the more time you spend here, the more money you make. It's like $1 per hour job, okay? The more time you spend in it, the more opportunity you're probably going to get. The people who are doing it in the top tier here, okay, top tier, you're probably spending between you're minimally 3+ hours, okay? The top tier people are generating 20 to 40 leads here. 3+ hours a day, Monday through Friday. They're generating a minimum around 2 leads a day, every day that they are on the phones. That's it. And by the way, if you just follow a good script book, I have one for free everywhere. Okay, literally anywhere you Google my name, you click on something, you're gonna get a free script book from me. Okay, it's all over for free. If you follow a script, you prospect for 3 hours a day, and you use an auto dialer, okay, which is connected to many CRMs, or you can get your own dialer. And if you export some data using many different places, I don't care if it's CoStar, CREsync, Reonomy, PropStream, there's so many different places you can pull it, okay? You can easily get 1 to 2, 3 leads a day here if you spend minimally 3 hours a day and you spend some time, energy, effort, role-playing, practicing your scripts, and becoming a proficient salesperson. Any person can get there to the top tier. Any person, spend more time on it, become more proficient, use an auto dialer, don't just hand dial. You can get to 20+ leads a month, every single month, period, just on cold one-to-many. Warm one-to-one. This is one of those places, by the way. Yeah, you guys want the sales script? I can give it to you real quick. Let me give you my sales script. Give me 1 second. Follow me on Instagram. My team will send it to you. Okay? Just DM me the word script book. Say I was at your EXP training. DM me the word script book on Instagram. I'll send it to you for free. Okay? Just follow me on Instagram. My team will take care of everything else. No problem. Anyways, warm one-to-one. Let's talk about this for a moment because a lot of you guys are using this. Okay? If you're using warm one-to-one, you have to realize that similar to the time frame, okay, and energy and effort, this one's going to be a very hard one to scale. Very hard to scale. The way it scales is by closing more deals because as they become past clients, you want to be adding them to your sphere, right, your network, and you can constantly be asking them for the referrals over time. But it's a slow behemoth because it becomes amazing. I mean, people who are, I have some friends who've been in the industry 30+ years. They have a database of tens of thousands and many multiples of of people, right? Hundreds if not thousands of people, and getting referrals from a lot of these people is not so difficult when you have so many of them. However, at the very beginning of your career, this one's very, very difficult because you're reliant on other people to bring you business. It's very difficult. In the commercial real estate business, if you are 100% reliant on other brokers, imagine being reliant on other brokers to give you leads. You would starve to death. You just can't rely on it. So warm one-to-one, I am not a huge fan of relying on warm one-to-one at the very beginning of your career. You can't. There is just not enough to sustain. However, what you can do is you can add it to this. You can add these two together, okay? 3 hours here, 1 hour here, every day, Monday through Friday. There's 4 hours of your day you're going to spend on lead generation, just specifically here. Now, look, you can be, like I told you, right? I'm going to do it here on the side, okay? Tier 1, which is the lowest tier. Tier 2, Tier 3, okay? You can generate between 0 and 5, 5 to 20, or 20 to 40 leads a month. If you spend time, energy, effort here, you can be in Tier 3 all day long, every single time. Every single one of you. You don't even need to be that proficient, but if you spend 3 hours a day, it is really just about your consistency factor. If you can raise your consistency factor, be more consistent than your competition. At the very beginning of my career, I was not the smartest. I was not that well educated. I didn't go to college. But what I did was that I was willing to make more calls than anybody else. My consistency factor was the highest of anybody in my marketplace. This is how by the age of 24, I was making $600,000 a year in this business, okay? I was just more consistent than other people. Warm one-to-one, I'm going to tell you right now, the lowest tier is doing 0, just like straight up, okay? Tier 1, Tier 2, okay? Tier 3. Tier 1 is just a fat 0. You're not even making any calls to your sphere of influence, your past clients, current clients, okay? Tier 2 is someone who's doing between like 1 and 2, okay? 1 and 2 referrals a month, okay? That is a Tier 2 individual. And then you have someone who's a 3 to 10 plus. 3 to 10 plus, that means you're calling your entire phone book basically every single month. You're going through your entire phone book once a month. And you're hunting for your VIPs, and you're constantly in touch with these people who are building and growing and helping you build your business. Because if there are people who don't call it whatsoever, if you're already doing it, now you need to you have to be asking the right question, which is how do you ask for more referrals? Well, the magical script is, look, John, you're on the phone with John. John is someone you know. John, can I ask you for a favor? Yes. They're always going to say yes anytime you ask for a favor. Can I count on you for one amazing referral, someone who's just like you, John, someone who's kind, and then you just repeat to them exactly what you want from them, which is someone who's, if John was hypothetically a seller who you helped sell, John's somebody who's just like you, someone who sold their property and is, maybe looking to get top dollar, just like I was able to help you with. Can I count on you for one great referral? Someone who's just like you, who blank, right? If you worked with a buyer who bought a property, you can ask them, for someone who's just like them. Like, hey, can I count on you, John, who's a buyer? Can I count on you for somebody who just bought, who's looking to buy their next investment property? If you're looking for another type of referral and you just want sellers, even though you're speaking to a buyer, be like, John, somebody who's just like you, who's super kind and is looking to do a commercial real estate transaction, whether it's looking to buy or sell in commercial real estate. Can I count on you for that? Yes, right? Great. Can I count on you to have that referral by the end of the month? Amazing. That's it. That's the simplest part of the script. You just have to ask that 10 times a day. Don't count a warm one-to-one call unless you've asked for a referral. If you've asked for a referral, it counts as a conversation. If you didn't ask for a referral, it doesn't count as a conversation. You ready for the magic, everybody? You ready for some magic? Because if you just did your cold one-to-one and your warm one-to-one, at most, top-tier players are only going to be generating 40 leads a month here and another maybe 5 to 10 leads a month here. So you're maybe at 50 leads a month from top tier, which, by the way, I'm just letting you know, this thing, if you just top tier to this, okay, tier 3 people, crushing it, you're still going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Maybe even $1 million a year, depending on your market. You can easily make, you can easily do 10 transactions a year, because we just talked about this. If you do 20 million at 5% commission is $1 million. It's $1 million, right? 20 million in volume at 5% commission is $1 million. This is only 10 transactions at 2 million. If you're generating 50 leads a month, do you think you can close one deal a month? Right? Yes. By show of hands, yes. I would imagine everyone here. You could write yes in the chat. If you were generating 50 leads a month right now, do you think you could close one deal? I would imagine so. Anyone who does this and you just spend 3 hours plus on cold and 1 hour plus a day on warm, and you're just consistent with your scripts and you're more consistent than anybody else in the marketplace, you will probably make somewhere between $300 and $1 million a year. Okay, without doing anything else drastically different in your business. Now, if you want a mega multiplier, you have to get into the one-to-manys. This is where the magic happens. Cold one-to-many and warm one-to-many, they have some pros and cons of both. Okay, let me be clear. Warm one-to-many, let's start here. Posting content, building a brand online. This takes time, okay? So the con here is time. Most people don't want it to take time. They want it right now. We're impatient little boys and girls, right? We are impatient little kids, right? We want it now. I want my money today, right? I want to make lots of money right now. Here's the thing. Building a valuable brand online does not happen immediately. This is, imagine posting thousands of pieces of content before it ever blows up. You might have to post 1,000 pieces of content. I've posted about 3,000 to 4,000 pieces of content in the last couple years. And I only have like 60,000 something followers on all across social media platforms, okay? Across all platforms. We have like 18,500 on YouTube. We have, the other, 16,000 on Instagram. And then we have a bunch of other that have a couple thousand each, right? So it's like, guys, several thousand posts. And I'm only at like 60,000 followers across all platforms. It's not that crazy. But there's still a lot of money that I make every single year just from my content, right? Then now I've learned how to monetize and everything else. Keep in mind, it takes a lot of time. And a lot of energy and effort, by the way. A lot of time, energy, and effort that you're going to put into this. Hundreds and hundreds of hours every single year. It's going to take a lot of time. It's probably going to be 2 to 3 years possibly before it ever blows up. But it's a smart thing to do to be on the social media side of things. I spend $15,000 a month just on my content creation alone. I have a team of 10 people who help me on the content side of my company. So just keep in mind, like, I spend a lot of time, energy, and effort, right? Lots of hours, lots of time, energy, and effort on my content. I think this is very important. And guess what? You can do this by starting by doing maybe 2 hours a week worth of content. But if it's going to be your only way of generating leads, you better be doing this for 3 hours a day every single day and posting 100 minutes worth of content a day. Because it takes a lot of time and you got to do a lot of effort at the very beginning to get the train out of the station. Now, cold one-to-many. If you were trying to make a ton of money in this business, that's like a ton of money, millions of dollars a year, you have to figure out one of two things. You have to figure out either this, okay? You have to figure out how to build a big team and recruit people to do this for you. Or, I'd even like to say the word and, because it's not just an or, you figure this one out. You figure out your cold one-to-many. Because if you can figure out your cold one-to-many, which is you pay X amount of dollars and X amount of dollars comes back. I have many examples of people who are crushing it in the world of real estate because they figured out the cold one-to-many. The problem, I'm going to give you a bunch of examples, and I just want you to hear this all the way through, okay? Because I don't want your brain to go nuts, okay? Because it's about to go crazy. If you figure this out, you can make like tens of millions. Okay. I have a buddy of mine who spends $300,000 a month on mailers. He makes back like $5 million a month. It's a pretty good investment. Now, guess what? He didn't start with $300,000 a month, obviously. He started with like a couple $1,000s. And then it built up to $5,000, then it was $10,000, then it was $25,000, then $50,000, $100,000, now it's $300,000 a month. And he makes now his company does $60 million a year. He spends $300,000 a month on advertisements. Okay. And he does mailers, by the way. He's a big mailers guy. Now, by the way, I have an example of people who have made that kind of money in any type of paid ad. I have a friend of mine who spends $100,000 a month in paid texting. That's all they do. They only do paid texting, and they make $20 million a year. They spend $100,000 a month on paid advertising. They make $20 million back. Call it 100 a month. They make $1 million back, right? $1 million or $2 million back every month. This will absolutely blow you up. Here's the con. It costs money. And some people don't have a lot of money. So you got to think about what you want. Now, look, all of these work. Every single one of these work. Okay. But what I feel like most people try to do is they try to do this at the very beginning. They do it with too little money, and they don't do it with a good enough ad, okay, because you have to test and trial. I spend about, I call it somewhere anywhere between $250 to $1,000 a day right now. That's where I'm at. I'm not like my buddies, okay? My buddies spend way more money than me on paid advertisement. They're way down the road. Okay, I've also spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars here and lost a lot of money in paid advertising. There's a lot of people who lose money in paid ads. Okay, this is not just a for sure win. It costs a lot of money and it can cost you a fortune if you do this wrong. However, if you do it right, it can make you a lot of money. So what I'm trying to say to you is that I don't suggest any of you start here, because what many of you should be doing, right? This is my philosophy. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. This is the way it goes. So you start here. This is number 1. You do really well here. You start with cold 1-to-1. You figure that out. Because the problem, and a lot of people don't want to get on the phones because they're scared of cold calling. They're scared of prospecting. They're scared of rejection. But here's what happens. You start with warm 1-to-1. You're like, I can talk to my friends. Right? Okay, great. But then your friend refers you to somebody. What are you going to do now? You've never spoken to this person before. If you don't know how to prospect and sell over the phone, if you don't know how to sell and learn the art of communication, the art of the language of sales, even if you get referred somebody from the warm 1-to-1 because you feel more comfortable, what are you going to do now? Well, you don't know because you don't know. Like you've never practiced doing any of your sales scripts. You would have no idea because you've never practiced the language of sales. So I believe everybody should start here. Add this, do both, do these top 2 to start. Start making money, start generating some leads, get really consistent. Because if your consistency is really good up doing 1 and 2, you'll start making some money. And now that you have some time and money, now that you're starting to make some money, you can start reinvesting that into your content and start building out some content. Right, where you can start, helping yourself and maybe hire a VA to edit your content so you don't have to edit it, right? You don't have to worry about all that kind of stuff. You just buy a camera and a tripod and you stand in front of a screen like this with a fake plant next to you and you can start creating some content like I do. It doesn't have to be complicated. You create the content. Your editor takes care of it. You only pay him $50, $100 a video, and you start out small. You don't have to have a $15,000 team that I do a month, okay? You don't need to start there. I started with one person who I paid $500 a month to. Okay, that's what I started with. Was just like this nice young girl who had a camera and she followed me around and started recording content and she would edit it a little bit and post it online. It was not amazing. The content was not great. My content, that I even did, again, the camera quality wasn't great. My content itself wasn't amazing, but it's obviously gotten better over time because we started to make some money from it, right? So you start here, you figure this stuff out, you start making hundreds of thousands of dollars, you close 1 or 2 deals, you start getting really consistent, and then you add this. You don't stop this, you add this, okay? You continue to do 1 and 2 repeatedly. You get so good up here that you add this in and you start building out your team a little bit. Okay. And then before you get to number 4, I would even tell you start focusing on building a team, a junior agent or 2, and a transaction manager or 2, right? A lead manager or 2, people to support you in servicing the clients up here in these 2 to 3 boxes. Okay. And then once you're starting to make a lot of money, start closing 1 deal a month, okay? Like as an example, our team does between 3 and 6 transactions each and every single month. So it's like, it gives you an understanding that, again, we do a lot of volume. I could not do it without my support staff. I don't handle every single transaction start to finish. I don't really care. That's not my job. It's like my hands are up. That's not my job, right? My team handles that. And then guess what? I just get to continuously focus on generating new opportunities because I'm here. So personally, I'm still here. But I added this, and now I'm at this point, I'm in number 4. Many of you can get to number 4, okay, the cold one to many, where I can spend $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. Okay, I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years and lost a lot of money, but we're constantly working on enhancing this process. We do 100,000 cold text messages a month. We do over 100,000 cold emails a month, and we do like lots of other paid. We do Facebook ads as well. Okay, Facebook, Instagram ads as well. It's taken me a long time to get this box, and I feel like everyone's trying to rush to this box, and they blow a bunch of money on this, and they think that sending out a bunch of mailers one time is going to make them rich. That's not how it works. It's building a bankroll here for years at a time. I'm going to spend minimally, 10, 15, 20, $30,000 a month for the next at least 2 years into figuring this out. I'm going to make sure this works. It takes a lot of time to get to that point.